All right, folks, welcome in Tuesday edition of College Sports Now alongside Roddy Jones from the ACC Network. I'm Stephen Hartzell. We have no guest today because I didn't book one. Didn't need to. The games this week were pretty meh, Roddy. Couple of notes. We will get into the games. No Michael Serber today. Our man is he's out. He's fighting a little something.
Uh-oh.
And we're hoping it's not the Rona, but We'll find out in a couple of days. He did send me a voice note. If you'd like me to play it for you, I can.
Love that.
Yeah, okay, hang on. Let me pull this up here. Because, Serber's he's like the Cal Ripken of the show, man. He doesn't take days off. Here's Serber checking in, sick early in the week. Here we go.
Hey, guys. On my way back from CVS, since all the medicine in our house has expired. In the 2 years we've been staying home now, not getting sick. I just wanted to say chop on. Rodstradamus is dead after going 0-2 last week.
Ooh,
don't listen to me ever again. And Clemson's bad at football. Have a good show, boys.
Couple of things there. One, chop on. This is an Atlanta Braves podcast for the next several days.
Put this thing on right here. I just want people to recognize, too, the Braves have done this without Soroka, who's been out the entire season. We were supposed to get him back early in the year. Never happened. By the way, Huascar Yanoa missed a significant amount of time after starting the year extremely well because he punched the dugout wall. Freddie started awfully, but then he was like, oh, man, I don't know what happened. I got flashy thinged and forgot that I'm Freddie Freeman, and so he turned back into Freddie. But most importantly, we've done it all without Robert Acuna, who was the MVP of the National League before he tore his ACL. Like, the dude was incredible. He's going to have a 40-40 season. He was amazing. And all we've done is go to the World Series. So let's go. I quite literally tip my cap to Alex Anthopoulos, who has done an excellent job at GM, the acquisitions that he's made. I tip my cap to a chunky Jock Peterson, who all he has done is drop bombs.
They won't beat the Astros. We're all going to get hurt.
We didn't think they were going to beat the Dodgers. But you're right. You are right. Like I'm pleased with where we are. First time since 1999, by the way.
You were
I didn't realize it had been that long.
You hadn't even been born. You weren't even a glimmer in your parents' eyes at that point.
I was 10 years old. I'm a grown man with children, and it is like I was 10 years old when the Braves last went to the World Series. That is wild, and they've been good the whole time basically since.
Let's talk some college football.
Okay.
Because I've got more than just the Serber soundbite queued up for today's show. All right.
Very curious to see where you're going to go with this one.
Well,
to start,
I will ask you. We saw history over the weekend.
Yes, we did.
And we had the first 9 overtime game in FBS.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about it. That's where I want to start the show.
Okay, good. Where do you want to start it?
Well, Illinois defeated Penn State 20-18. We had never seen an overtime game go beyond 7.
Right.
We got to 9.
But that was the 7 overtime game was under the old format, right?
Yeah, where you actually get the ball to 25 and you got to play. So,
Right.
The new overtime rule went into effect. I've got questions about this. For starters, did you know, Roddy, that during this game they kept going back and forth?
Yes.
they had to change sides.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was part of the agreement.
Yeah, that's a part of the deal.
Penn State was a 25-point favorite at home to Illinois. Nittany Lions, they got the game against Ohio State on deck. You're like, man, just don't get caught looking ahead. Well, they got caught. Sean Clifford was back. He didn't look good. Penn State's offense looked rough. Do you know how many times Illinois ran the ball? Do you know?
Lot.
Take a guess.
Penn State. Okay. I'm going to guess they ran somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 plays. Somebody has 60 runs.
Illinois ran the football 67 times.
Oh, my God.
67 times for 357 yards. Okay, that was the one thing that Brett Bielema does well. Here's my question for you, Roddy. Before you left for the bright lights of television, you worked in radio. You were the color analyst for the Georgia Tech Radio Network for 1 season.
Yes.
So you kind of know the do's and don'ts of radio, right? When you're the color guy, you're supposed to talk in between. When the play-by-play guy is describing what's happening, right? That's generally a rule. Yeah, that's generally a rule, right? All right, I want you to I want you to listen to how the end of this game played out on the Fighting Illini Radio Network. Okay? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Yep.
You haven't heard this yet?
No, I've not heard it, but I saw the play.
Okay, here we go.
In motion, Navarro fake. Peters rolls to the end zone. It is caught. It is caught. Yes! And it's good. Yes! And the Illini have won. They have upset number 7 Penn State. They caught it in the end zone. 2 points. The Illini are running all over the field, trying to find other people to hug. And on the replay, I want to see in the back of the end zone who it was.
That's Casey Washington.
Casey Washington.
The game is over.
Casey Washington with a catch. The Illini have upset Penn State 20-18. Can you believe it?
Stephen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel him in that moment because do you remember the kick in the pig call Brandon Gaud did myself in 2014?
Yeah.
When DJ White picks off Hudson Mason to end that game, Brandon's being super professional, which is why he's gone on to be the voice of Madden, doing NFL TV, Big Ten Network, all that stuff. Occasionally graces us with his presence. Brandon, super professional. He's like, Hudson Mason drops back to pass, throws left, and it is intercepted. And then you hear me go, intercepted! Woo!
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Oh, I remember.
So I don't know who the analyst is there, but I feel him in that moment. I got a couple of questions for you. One, did you like the new format? Did you like the format of going to 2-point conversions only, starting with the third overtime?
No, I didn't. Now, listen, it would have been different if these guys were able to, I don't know, convert, score. But it was, I mean, this was an exercise of futility. It was brutal. It was brutal.
I will say, like, it'll be interesting to see because the study was done, like, how many more plays you play in overtime, all that stuff. Had you played those 7 plays in, like, the third overtime, would we have ended sooner? Like, would we have had a 9 overtime game? I would say probably not, although with the amount of sucking there was going on, I would say so. The thing that Penn State's going to be fired up about, Illinois ran a Philly special where they had a pick to end the game, and they dropped the pick, and Illinois is able, I think, to tie it up with a field goal on that last drive.
Yeah.
Penn State then subsequently ran their own Philly special where Sean Clifford is wide open, and I can't remember which overtime it was, but I believe it was a play that would have won the game, and the ball's underthrown, or they had to settle. I think it was in the first overtime. I think they had to settle for a field goal there. But 2 Philly specials that, I mean, you could not draw them up any better for Penn State. One on defense where they've got a pick, one on offense where they've got the quarterback wide open. The offensive one's underthrown, the defensive one you drop the pick. And it's just like, I mean, this was the team that we were talking about going into the gauntlet of Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State. Like, where do they rank in that? And I actually thought that they were slightly behind Michigan, but only slightly behind Michigan, obviously behind Ohio State and slightly ahead of Michigan State. But golly, like, I think they're more like, I don't know, Maryland now than I do those other 2 teams with their inability to play well on a week-in, week-out basis.
That the bad part here, other than losing at home to Illinois when you're favored by a quarter century, is you got to go to the Horseshoe Saturday.
Oh, and let me tell you what's going to happen there. They are going to get run.
I want to talk ACC football with you.
All right, let's do it.
Hail Pitt.
Hail to Pitt, man. That game could have been worse than it was.
Should have been.
Yeah.
Should have been.
Well, there's a lot to talk about here because I want to first give a lot of credit to Pitt. This is a game that in the past Pitt loses. Look at NC State this past weekend. Like, there is a maturity to beating a team you are supposed to beat. NC State goes, they dick around with Miami. Miami wins the game. Does that earn us the E if I say dick around?
Yeah, that does. But it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Well, you're not
it's
wrong.
Not even a bad one.
I kept waiting for Miami to blow that game, and they didn't. So
kept waiting
props
for NC State
to
to win the game. Like,
props to the U.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one in a second. But I just want to transpose, like, these are 2 coaches this last week that were both talking about, all right, our team's not getting any respect. Well, okay, you're both ranked in the top 25. NC State, sit down and shut up. You lost to the 7th best team in the SEC West, although the 7th best team in the SEC West by the standings is Arkansas. That's where you say Arkansas.
No, I'm
You're so big on Tusk.
Arkansas is a good football team. They're fine. Don't worry about it. They're fine. Let's keep it on the rails.
Yeah. But you transpose those 2, Pitt's facing a Clemson team that is a national brand that is struggling on offense, very good on defense, and maybe that keeps them focused and keeps the perspective there. And they go out and they win the football game like they should. Kenny Pickett was excellent during the game. They forced Clemson to make plays down the field to beat them, and to be quite honest, they couldn't do it. And when they blew stuff, which they did, Pitt is not infallible on defense. They will have their lapses because of the way they play somewhat, and because just like that style, you can scheme yourself into some open players. They couldn't make the plays. Like, what's the running back's name? I'm blanking on his name. Will Shipley.
Yeah.
Had a couple of opportunities. One where he's got a run play where he comes through and he trips over his own feet. And probably, like, based on everything I heard about him, like probably goes for a touchdown if that doesn't happen. 2, drops a pass that may go for a touchdown if he catches it. So like, the opportunities just aren't there, and they aren't good enough to miss those opportunities. But Pitt's ability, I believe they had the ball for 13 minutes of the fourth quarter, and it's the second week in a row they have salted away the entire fourth quarter, not letting the other team get the ball back. They did it at Virginia Tech against a pretty good Virginia Tech defense. That, to me, is the most impressive thing for Pitt, because they've gotten in the fourth quarter. They are the team that typically, that over the last couple of years, has not been great at running the football, and they're not great at it this year. But when they've needed a drive to put the game away, offensively, they've done it.
Yeah.
Against 2 pretty good defenses. And if you're able to do that with the offense that they have, like, they're going to be really dangerous down the stretch. So I tip my cap to Pitt, recognize the stuff that Kenny Pickett's doing. Here's the thing. Kenny Pickett might not be the offensive player of the year in the ACC for me right now.
Because it's going to another quarterback?
Dude, Brennan Armstrong has been fantastic.
No, not that one.
What are you going to do?
Talking about the one in Winston-Salem.
Oh, get the hell out of here. Brennan Armstrong at Virginia has been incredible. Like, I don't think people nationally realize. By the way, Virginia is sneakily 6-2 right now. And Brennan Armstrong, second leading passer in the country, 23 touchdown passes, has rushed for 5 more. Like, he counted for 6 touchdowns in the game against Georgia Tech.
You know, it's funny. I was looking at scores Saturday night, and I'm like, oh, man, Georgia Tech's up 2 touchdowns in Charlottesville?
Yeah, that was in the first quarter.
How's that going to end?
Poorly.
Yeah, it didn't end well. But, yeah, look, you're right. Virginia, offensive juggernaut. We got to talk about the other team in the Commonwealth of Virginia a little bit later, by the way.
We will talk about that. But I want to finish on Pitt. Tip your cap to Pitt. They are in the driver's seat now.
Yes.
They've got the win over Clemson. They go to Miami. They get North Carolina at home a little bit later on. They're kind of on the back end right now of the difficulty of their schedule. I don't have their schedule up in front of me.
So here, I put this on the doc. I feel better about Pitt's remaining schedule than I do Wake Forest's.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you know, Pitt's got Miami coming to town this week. Their road games are Duke and Syracuse.
Here's the thing about Miami coming to town. Miami's playing with a lot of confidence. Pitt's coming off a big win. Again, like, maturity of program, Pitt. You cannot lose this game.
No.
Because Miami's good enough to beat you. Rhett Lashley will scheme up some stuff to get them open. But you look at Pitt's remaining schedule, Miami at Duke, UNC, UVA, Syracuse. I feel like the Miami game, don't overlook them. It's a noon game on ACC Network. There will be nobody in Heinz Field. Do not overlook Miami. Virginia and Syracuse, though, those are the 2 for Pitt that, like, I'm kind of worried about. Because Virginia can score, and Brennan Armstrong's played fantastic. That might be for the player of the year in the conference offensively. Syracuse, sneaky, like, playing really well. I do want to hit the Clemson thing really quickly. I won't go much further. DJ Uyunglele was benched in that game. For, I believe, 1 or 2 series. Tyson Pumachan comes in the game. Clemson has to have another quarterback. Like, it is irresponsible to be the type of program that Clemson is and not have another option. Look at Ohio State. If CJ Stroud started struggling as much as DJ struggling for as long, like, they're replacing the quarterback, by the way, with guys that were rated higher than him. Look at Alabama. Same thing. Bryce Young. Not guys that were rated higher, but they're replacing him. Nick's done it in the past. Look at Tua. Look at Georgia. Georgia is now in a situation where, like, playing JT Daniels is a luxury.
Right.
As they go into Florida. you can look across the country at the programs that are of that level, and you've got a backup in the hopper that can play football. Clemson should have that, and it's a little bit of irresponsibility in my opinion, not to have that.
Okay, quick follow up for Clemson, who is now 4-3 on the season.
Yep. And they got another one coming too, man.
Blip on the radar, is this the anomaly or like the road bump, or is this the start of something bigger?
It's a start of something bigger. They're not going to fall off the radar nationally, but they are not. What they have been, to me, what they have been the last 6 years has been a model of consistency, one of the premier programs in America. But I think we're starting to see that the foundation of it was a little flawed from the beginning. And you had extremely talented players, generational type talents, that covered it up.
At pretty much every major skill position and everywhere on defense.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so you look at the defensive line and maybe if the defensive linemen don't get hurt this past year, like this year, Brzee, Tyler Davis, maybe they're improved, but they're still not a good football team, especially offensively. But offensive line-wise has been happening for a long time. Quarterback-wise, you've hit as much as you've missed, which is really good in college football.
Sure.
You hit on Deshaun, you kind of miss on Kelly, although that team was good enough around him to get him to a college football playoff. You obviously hit on Trevor, and you've kind of missed on DJ. Like wherever DJ goes from here, he's not going to be Trevor. And we thought he could be at one point. Receiver-wise, the stars keep coming, but they don't turn into stars, if you know what I mean. Like Mike Williams isn't there, T. Higgins isn't there. Justin Ross has been better, but still inconsistent. But remember, this thing started with Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins, and everyone forgets, but Martavis Bryant was as good as those two. The only reason he didn't get drafted higher is because he really liked to smoke weed, and that's the only reason he's not still in the league, because he really liked to smoke weed. But talent-wise, that dude was incredible. So, where do they go from here? I don't know. I think next year they're probably going to be picked to win the ACC, but next year you're going to be replacing a lot on defense. I'm not going to go through it, but you're going to be replacing a lot on defense. You've got a significant number of transfers, like safety, Joseph Charleston, guy that was playing a lot in the portal. Michael Dukes, guy that was playing a lot at running back in the portal. You already had Lynn J. Dixon in the portal. It's not something that we've seen from Clemson in the past.
Yeah.
So, you have a little bit of adversity. You got people jumping ship. We talked about the coaching changes. So I think it's not the end of Clemson. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I think it's going to take Clemson a little bit of inward looking to maintain their spot in the national landscape. Doesn't mean they won't win the ACC, but the national landscape the way they were.
You said they're 4-3 with another loss or losses, plural, coming?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's at least one more coming. And you hate it when I do this. I don't know where it is. I don't know who it is. It's probably Wake Forest if I had to guess.
Classic.
Wake Forest just put up 70.
That's a good transition. Now let's talk about the Deeks, man. 70 points in 17 minutes. I was watching this game. I was listening this. We were doing the Blitz on Saturday. Every time you looked up, there was a dude wearing gold and black. Didn't matter what team. Streaking down the field to go into the end zone. This was if you're a defensive coordinator, you're pulling your hair out, but I was thoroughly entertained, Roddy. I thought it was great.
Yep.
Like the Deeks were only a 3-point favorite in this game. I think nationally people are still, non-believers, hesitant, sleeping, whatever you want, whatever adjective you want to use to describe, people's apathy towards this program, but they're 7-0. They got Duke coming to town this weekend for homecoming, a.k.a. they're about to be 8-0, and they're in the driver's seat in the Atlantic Division, man. So talk to me about these Deeks. Sam Hartman, not just a good-looking guy. He's a very handsome devil.
He's very handsome.
But, he's a hell of a quarterback. This offense is humming, dude. Humming.
Yeah, it is. Look, when you score 70 points in 17 minutes, somebody smarter than me, I think it was David Hale, did the math on how many points that is per second or how many seconds per point. It's ridiculous. It's 14 seconds. You're scoring a point every 14 seconds. The offense has been fantastic. And up to this point, the defense has done enough. It's been average. This game was not average. Now, Army is a really unique challenge, the way that they've evolved. And, like, if they find something, they're going to needle you. So that could have, like, I don't really put a lot of stock in a performance against Army defensively because I know the way Jeff Monken operates, and they can absolutely rip you apart, especially when you get to the point. They had the ball a lot, obviously, in the first half. Wake Forest played a lot of plays over the course of the game on defense. So over the course of a game, you're going to get worn down a little bit. Army ran 83 plays over the course of the game, 70 rushing attempts and 13 passes. Wake Forest, what's 23, 40, 52 plays and scored 70 points. So, like, to me, it's like you'll take that, in my opinion. So this team is really good on offense. The first question you need to ask for any defense that's facing Wake Forest is, can they stop Wake? And the rest of the way, if you look at the schedule, the answer for most of them are no. Like Duke, no. UNC, hell no. NC State, maybe we'll see what the Isaiah Moore injury brings. Like, NC State's pretty good on defense. Not good enough to hold Miami under 30, but pretty good on defense. Clemson. Yeah, Clemson could stop Wake on defense, potentially. Like, that's a potentially game.
But as I have been informed by the Wake Forest contingent that I work with here in Winston-Salem, you beat NC State, the Clemson game doesn't matter.
You are correct. You are absolutely correct.
I mean, obviously, like,
you got to beat BC after that.
Yeah, there's the Boston College game.
NC State is the big one.
Yeah.
Because NC State, when they messed around and lost.
Right.
So, and even had they not lost, like, you control your destiny. But if you beat NC State then has 2 ACC losses, you could lose the next 2. So the next 3 weeks for Duke, 2 of the next 3 weeks for Wake Forest, because they play Duke. UNC is a non-conference game, so that doesn't matter.
Correct.
Doesn't matter at all. Duke, NC State, that's your season if you're Wake Forest. You win those 2 games, you're in the championship. Wake Forest needs to beat Duke. They need to beat NC State, get to the ACC championship game. The rest of it is icing on the cake, in my opinion.
Where let's assume Wake takes care of business against Duke. Where do we expect to see them next week when those CFP rankings come out?
It's a good question. I would say just outside of the top 10.
I know that this is a program.
You're an undefeated team. There's a floor. Like, there's a pretty high floor for an 8-0 team at that point in the season.
Well, look, I mean, I know Jim Grobe took this program to an Orange Bowl and won an ACC championship, but you want to talk about, like, the watermark of a program. I mean, we're flirting with it here, aren't we? Under Dave Clawson? I mean,
absolutely.
This is rarefied air.
This is a different league than it was back then, too.
Yeah.
Like, it's a much better league. There's more investment in football than there was then. So, yeah, absolutely. And, look, Sam Hartman, I don't know if he'll have the cult following that Riley Skinner does, because Riley took him to that ACC championship, played so young, and he did it. I think he was a freshman that year.
Who they beat in that ACC championship? Do you remember?
Bro, stop it. It's a 9-6 game. Like, it could have gone either way. It's a coin flip. And beat Georgia Tech, but whatever. Like, why are you bringing up old stuff? Like, I'm trying to compliment Wake, and you're throwing shots. And so if they take care of business the next 3 weeks, like, they'll be number 7 in the country.
It's wild. By the way, while we're on the ACC, I need to play this. I've got audio. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I take me to Lane Stadium Saturday.
Okay.
Just take me there. Just for 25 seconds. Okay. End of the game. Hokies gotta have it. Gotta have it at home. Guess what? They didn't have it.
It's first down, clock running at 25, snap back. Schrader hit on the release, ball's down the seam left. Alfred reaches up, he's got it, he's into the end zone, he's off to Never Never Land, and the Orange have the lead. No flags, Schrader hung in and heaved it, and Alfred went up over the defender, caught it, and took it the rest of the way with 19 seconds to go. The Orange have taken the lead at Virginia Tech. It is 40-36.
Listen, that's Matt Park, by the way,
man.
On the
Yes,
Syracuse Sports Network
yes,
from Learfield. There were Fire Fuente chants after that.
By the way, that was Damian Alford's 8th catch of the year.
Yeah, look, I mean, here's the deal. I don't want to just bash on Virginia Tech, even though for probably 2.5 seasons now on the show, I've been like, man, I don't know if this is going to go
like,
well
what
for
changed?
Pointe.
Like, have you grown as a person? What's
Well,
happening here? Who are you?
Hey, I told you in September, I'm like, hey, there's a fraud in the top 15 of the AP poll. Let me know if you can find them. They're wearing maroon and orange.
That was, yeah.
Here's the thing. Syracuse is a tough football team. Like that's
Yes.
not an easy out. That's not a guaranteed dub. All right,
I think I said it to you. I think I said it on this to you last week. Like, nobody wants to play Syracuse or Florida State right now.
Yeah, fine. Okay. I won't, I mean, I won't fight you on that. Here's what I'm going to say. Virginia Tech has lost 4 of 5, and
That is correct.
it's, you're legitimately looking at a situation
And the one
where,
was Richmond.
Spiders. So you're in a spot right now where, like, it's going to happen. Like, it's going to happen. So,
Yeah. Feels inevitable.
The coaching turnover. I mean, there's a what is it? Is it the Governor's Cup or the Commonwealth Cup against Virginia? Is that what they call it?
It's a Commonwealth.
I get confused. They do one in Kentucky too. I feel like that's also the Commonwealth Cup. So yeah, look, I didn't want to go ACC heavy with the show, but obviously the Wake Forest game deserved it. Pitt Clemson deserved it because those two programs, we coming. All right.
We haven't even talked about Miami and NC State.
We don't need to talk about it.
It's a brutal loss for NC State. I want to shout out Miami though. Tyler Van Dyke came out. He was talking that smack. He went out and backed it up. Like, dude was really good.
He did.
And I've been telling people, like, Tyler Van Dyke has been up and down, but in the second halves he's been really all up. And you've seen what he's capable of. And the dude was really good in the game. He can run a little bit more than you anticipated. He can dish the ball. Like, everybody talks about Jake Garcia is going to be the next guy at Miami. I'm not so sure about that. But Manny Diaz needed that win. It was a really good win for Manny Diaz.
By the way, I mean, we joke about Dave Doran, like, nobody does 8-4, 7-5 better than this guy.
They could be headed there.
You've done that's my point. You've done some nice things this year, State. You've done some nice things, but if you go out and lose 3 of your next 5, that's all been undone.
They still have Louisville, who I just saw. Like, Louisville, not great, but dangerous enough. They don't turn the ball over. I'm not saying they're going to lose to Louisville, but they're better than Louisville. Then you got Florida State. Nobody wants to play Florida State. They are so unique on offense with Jordan Travis, and he is a really good football player, and they can run the hell out of the ball.
Who else they got? Who else they got?
Then they got Wake Forest. Dicey. Then you got Syracuse. Dicey. And you got UNC. Dicey.
Yeah.
All right, so here are the two that I think they lose. I think they lose at Wake. I think they lose to Carolina at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's an angry game.
I am also not convinced they don't lose to Florida State.
Yeah, Knowles are playing good football. I mean, they started 0-4. Right?
I think they lose to one of Florida State or Syracuse. Probably Florida State, if I had to guess. But both Syracuse and Florida State have really good backs. They can run the ball, control the clock. Defensively, they play better. Syracuse has been a good defense this year that's caused a lot of havoc against people. Yeah. So actually, you know what? I take that back. They lose to Syracuse, not Florida State. Well, maybe they lose to both. I don't know.
Do you want to talk about Oklahoma and Kansas? Do you want to talk about Cincinnati and Navy?
I think we can talk quickly about it. I didn't see a lot of that Cincinnati Navy game. I saw a little bit of it. But from a national perspective, like, Cincinnati couldn't have one of those games, in my opinion, in order for them to go strong. Where
Oklahoma just did.
Right.
Oklahoma just had the same game.
But, like, Oklahoma is going to have a game against Oklahoma State later this year. Like, they're going to play Iowa State, who we generally respect. They're always playing better now. They're going to play who else does Oklahoma still have? But, like, they've got some teams that you can overcome it. Like,
they got Baylor, I think. They got a Baylor game.
They got Baylor, yep.
Yeah. Those are all ranked teams. Right. Valid.
So, like, Cincinnati is going to trot out SMU. It's like, well, you ignore Navy, we beat SMU. Or ignore Navy, we beat Notre Dame. It's like, okay, man, sure, neat. I mean, Navy very well could have won that game. And I've seen Navy. Like, Navy is dog poo on defense. Houston tore them apart. So, I'm not saying they're done. I'm just saying it's difficult. Like, where do you think they end up? College football playoff ranking comes out a week from today when this releases. Yeah. Where do you think they end up? Where do you think they are in the first one?
They'll be 5th.
Yeah.
Or you're the committee and you're like, hey, man, let's throw him a bone. Let's put him at 4.
I don't know. I think they could be at 6.
Let's get people talking. Yeah, I
or
think
7.
Nah, 6 is the floor.
I don't know. You look at Oregon's got a better win. That win over Ohio State has to mean something.
Dude,
you can roll your eyes all you want.
No,
They've got
rolling.
the best win.
I'm not rolling my eyes at your point.
They've got the best win in the country other than Texas A&M.
I'm rolling my eyes at what I saw from Oregon, not just those uniforms, which were
great.
They were awful. Now, I will say this. Civil War, it's going to be lit.
Interesting.
Oregon State, like the Beavs are they're coming, man. Like I don't know where that game is, whether it's in Corvallis or Eugene. It probably won't matter. You can't trust Oregon. You can't trust him. Although Kayvon Thibodeau, that dude, he's
a real player.
Yeah, he is the real deal.
So let's just quickly, like I have not spelled this out. I'm actually doing this. We're doing this on the podcast because I have to come up with my top 6 for Thursday. We're doing a whole thing.
Go ahead. I got my pen and my paper. Go ahead. What you got?
So let's talk about it. Like I think obviously Georgia's won. That one's pretty easy. At 2, I'm putting Ohio State.
Okay.
At 3, Alabama. And I know it's a road loss to an unranked team. Completely get it. But I think I and the committee will look at Texas A&M as an unranked team and say, like, that is the most talented unranked team in the country. Of course, you can get got, especially the way that game went. But I'm putting Alabama at 3.
Okay.
It's tough to put Oklahoma at 4 now, but they're undefeated in the Big 12, so I think you still do that. Oklahoma's still at 4. At 5, Michigan.
Man.
But you're only doing that because you're like, I'm not so sure about Michigan. Like, they're an undefeated team
Cincinnati,
in a real conference.
Hear me out here. Cincinnati, better football team than Michigan.
I don't know that.
I do. We had Phil Steele on the show last week. I asked him, Phil, how far down the AP top 25 do you have to go? He's got Cincinnati 5 in the Vegas rankings, man.
Vegas has Cincinnati 5, and I respect Phil, and I don't disagree with the Vegas rankings generally. And I get that Michigan's been kind of living dangerously, like 7-point win over Rutgers, the close game at Nebraska. Get it. I don't know, man. Something tells me Michigan would run the ball over Cincinnati.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Look at what Cincinnati just did to, like,
I
first
saw
off,
it. I
believe Michigan has run the ball on everybody this year.
Yeah. Can they throw?
No,
Speaking of service academies,
yeah, I mean,
at some point you're going to have to.
We keep saying, like, we say that about teams all the time, and then, like, sometimes they're good enough running the football where they don't have to.
You sound like your old head coach right now. You sound like Paul Johnson, just leaning back,
they have
talking
run
about
the ball
running
on
the ball.
everybody other. Okay.
So you're going to put Michigan at 5, so Cincinnati 6 for you.
I don't know. I'd probably put Cincinnati at 5. I told you that I'm workshopping this. Again, I don't think you can leave Oregon out of the top 6. You can't trust Oregon. They got the best one of everybody, and that has to mean something. They have beaten Ohio State. That has to mean something.
Well, you're going to put them below an Ohio State team that they've beaten in their building.
Yes. Well, you have to. Like, I mean, so we can't go crazy with like, oh, Oregon beat Ohio State, so that means they're above them. Like, no. Like, you watch the two teams, and those two teams are not created equal at this point in time. But the win can't mean nothing.
But Roddy,
it can't mean everything, and it can't mean nothing.
You've done these mock committee things before, right? Like,
yep.
You've got the head-to-head metric. Like, it's there. It's staring you in the face. Oregon beat Ohio State at their place.
Look, people, head-to-head only comes into play when the teams are similar. Like, those two teams are not similar right now. Here's a lot, just to give people a peek on the inside, and I'm glad you brought that up, Stephen, of what it's like in those rooms.
They didn't invite me, so you're the reference.
You'll get invited, I'm sure.
I don't care. I don't want to hang out with Bill Connolly. It's fine.
You have 13 people in the room that all value different things. You're going to have football people that look at games. They watch games. They watch film. They grind tape, and they're like, this is the better football team. You have your people that don't know what a power run is versus a counter, what a inside zone is versus outside zone, what a twist or a stunt is on the defensive side of football, what cover 3 is versus cover 1 versus quarter half. You'd have those people in the room that don't know that, who are not quote unquote football people,
right,
that watch the games obviously, but put value in other things. Statistical rankings, and they've got stuff like average performance or performance above or below opponent's average. So like how many points, how many yards do you hold your opponents to above or below their average? Something that Phil references a lot on this show. Listen to what he's saying when it comes to this stuff, because that is stuff that people look at. They'll look at offensive efficiencies. They'll look at, average starting field position. They'll look at,
right.
all these different metrics. Ohio State's offense is going to grade out as one of probably the best in the country. Like they're going to blow that stuff out of the water. Whereas a team like Oregon is going to be dead average in a lot of stuff. And then you're going to look at the schedule and you're going to see, obviously the win over Ohio State, a big win. You're also going to see the close wins, including last weekend, which, look at the game, look at the box score, that game out of hand until the late interception. They're going to see the loss at Stanford. So you're going to throw all of that in there, and then everybody votes separately. Like, they don't make this decision together. Like, hey, let's all put Oregon at number 1. It's like, or at number 6. They will rank them in batches, basically. So everybody will put in, like, their top. I think they start with top 6, and then it's, like, in groups of 3, basically. So you'll vote on your top 6. The top 3 automatically get put in that order. So the number 1 vote getter goes at number 1. Number 2 vote getter goes at number 2, and it's weighted based on where you rank them. So 1 gets more points than 6. And so they do that for the top 3. And then the next 3 get their own discussion together. So that'll be the first discussion. Like, hey, are we happy with 1 through 3? Yep, boom, move on. Let's move to 4, 5, 6. Let's have a discussion about the 3 teams that are at 4, 5, 6, and we'll add the next 2 to just see if they need to be in there. So that's kind of how it works. And then they kind of have these discussions in batches from there on, but everybody is not deciding, and then they'll vote on it at the end of the discussion. So again, we're not all deciding to put whoever at 4. They vote on it. And if someone has a big issue with it, they raise their hand, and there has to be like everyone saying, yes, that's fine with me at the end of the day.
Here's the thing. It doesn't really matter who's 2 or 3 in this thing, right? It matters who's 4, 5, and 6.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the deal. Like, if you end up at 2, you get to be the home team, so you don't call the coin toss. You don't get to decide where you're going. You don't get like who you play doesn't change. Just the color jersey and whether or not you get to call a coin toss.
Yeah. Yeah. I look. I'm sure that we'll spend some time next week talking about it. I mean, we do have some games involving unbeaten teams this week that could change this conversation. Michigan on the road at Michigan State.
They win that game, they're in the top 6.
Georgia, Florida.
Stop it.
I'm just putting it out there, Roddy Jones.
No, don't just put it out there because Florida may get them.
Listen.
Florida's afraid to, like, Anthony Richardson has guarantees that he's going to start or else he's in the portal, man.
Roddy, I'm just reading the schedule that's in front of me. Number 1 team against a rival,
you know what?
not at home.
Filter the schedule.
That checks a lot of boxes.
Get the hell out of here.
Listen, man, we saw it this week. Cincinnati trailing on the road at unranked Navy.
Cincinnati,
Oklahoma,
Georgia, not created equal.
In trouble on the road against a winless Kansas team in conference play.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just putting it out there, man. We're almost to November. Things are starting to get weird in college football. Georgia, Jacksonville, cocktail party, rivalry game. Listen, Roddy, I've been around this game my whole life, okay? The better team rarely wins Georgia, Florida.
That's not true.
Or Florida, Georgia. Depends on how you want to just. It's either Florida, Georgia, or it's Georgia, Florida. I'll just call it the cocktail party.
The better team rarely wins.
The higher ranked team in this meeting very rarely takes care of business.
Well, last year it was so recently they've both been really good. Like last year it was 8 versus 5 and 8-1.
Florida was an underdog.
Correct. But the year before, the 2 good teams. The year before that, 8-6. Georgia was the lower ranked team. They won. Year before that, Georgia's 7, Florida's 9. Year before that, Georgia's 3.
Don't shoot the messenger, okay? I'm just telling you what may happen. I'm so torn with the Georgia talk because part of me feels like I need to see it against somebody with a pulse. Have they played anybody with a pulse this season? Not really.
They're about to get it at the end of the year, though.
Yeah.
Them Jackets.
That team. That game in
Atlanta. Come to Atlanta.
That game in Atlanta. I thought you were talking about the one in Atlanta the week after
work
that.
From them Jackets.
Dude, Roddy, I love you, man.
I'm just telling you what could happen.
You see what I got in my room? You see this, right? I mean, I want to believe, but yeah, come on, man.
Just telling you what could happen.
Yeah.
By the way, Georgia does have to go. They get Florida and then Missouri, who can't stop me and you. Then they go to Tennessee and then they go to Georgia Tech, which whatever. But the at Tennessee game,
go on.
It's a little tricky.
They hung around for 3 quarters with Bama.
It's a little tricky.
Yeah, it was more like 2.5.
When's the last time Tennessee beat Georgia?
It's been a while, bro. It's been a while.
When's the last time Tennessee beat a rival that's not Vanderbilt?
Define rival. They beat Florida not that long ago, I feel like.
It's been 4 years since they beat Georgia. Let's look it up.
Listen, Tennessee
they haven't beat Alabama in forever.
Tennessee with Hendon Hooker's not bad. Like, I'll take my chances there.
I agree.
Especially with the tempo they were able to put up against Bama. They were giving Alabama problems. But
it's been 5 years since they beat Florida. It's been once since 2005, and then Georgia, like I said, it's been 4 years, so it's not that long. It's not that long. But Georgia's won since 2010. Georgia's won 9 of the 11.
Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss from Week 8?
Oh, I don't know. Let me take a look. Let's see. We talked about 9 overtimes.
Yeah, never again. I don't ever want to do that again.
You guys probably talked about it later in the week. I didn't get a chance to catch up on the episodes. App Coastal.
I mean, it was App Super Bowl. You don't just stroll into Boone and get that dub. Also, Coastal, you finally played somebody with a pulse. How did that go for y'all? Not well.
Poorly.
Yeah, not well.
But like the whole shine on Coastal, I get it, good football team, but like the whole shine on Coastal was completely built around the fact that they are fun to watch on offense, in my opinion. But they got physically dominated in that football game. Was it App Super Bowl? Sure, but that's kind of what App does to everybody. Unless you can beat on App on the line of scrimmages, like, you're not going to win. And Coastal looked completely overmatched. Grayson McCall has never seen that much black and yellow in his face.
I'm more here, Roddy, for the discussion, and this may be formally announced between now and the time this show actually gets published on Tuesday. But I'm more here for the discussion about what the Sun Belt Conference is doing.
Becoming the best Group of 5 football conference.
I'm all here for this.
Here for that.
And I'm not just saying that because my alma mater, the James Madison University Dukes, are headed to the Sun Belt.
It's about to get worked. Yeah,
that's not what's about to happen. No.
It is. It's what happens to all of, and they're jumping in a big boy conference. Like, it's not like they're easing in.
Yeah, because they're a big boy football program, Roddy.
Yeah, okay.
JMU's about to put it on some of these dudes. Yeah. But listen, here's the thing, man. Sunbelt's got some really good teams already. You're going to add Marshall. You're going to add JMU. Like, that's great. That's a phenomenal fit for what that league is trying to become.
I thought and look, I don't know all of the decisions that go into it, markets, all that stuff, and they're probably chasing some of that. In terms of overall football, Marshall is a fantastic ad. In terms of potential, James Madison is a really good ad, although I'm always cautious about these teams that are great at the FCS level that jump up, because you kind of go into like purgatory for like 5 years that you kind of have to wade through.
I ain't worried about that.
You do. App State happened to App. Like, App went into this area where they were like a cool story. Like, oh, great team, but now they're kind of getting – actually, they were pretty good on that.
I'm not going to stand by and let you besmirch my alma mater like that, bro.
I'm not besmirching.
Like, honestly, I think JMU, Georgia Tech, I think that's a competitive game. Honestly.
Oh.
So just
but it's a competitive game 10 times.
Just watch yourself.
Then your starting defensive end gets knocked out of the game, and you got nobody behind.
JMU's bringing some trophies to the table too, boy.
Yeah, they are.
Trophies, natties.
I do think long term it's a good ad. I thought Southern Miss was in that as well, right? Like, wasn't Southern Miss in the discussions
too? Proud program. I mean, I know they suck, absolutely. But that's a proud program.
I thought Louisiana Tech was the pick there if you were going to go down that way.
Really? You're going Ruston over Hattiesburg, huh?
100%. 100%.
Because of the Louisiana connection?
The Louisiana connection. Secondly, like, if you're looking outside of just football, great baseball program. Like, that's a baseball program that's rolling in a conference that plays some decent baseball, at least with ECU. So,
that's fair.
But that doesn't play into it. I just would have loved to have seen it, especially because, like, you put Louisiana Tech and Louisiana in the same conference, and who knows? And maybe Louisiana didn't want it. Like, I don't know. Maybe they pushed back on having another school in the state in the same conference.
It's interesting. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Old Dominion, that's a weird fit." Not when you consider like what that brings in terms of like recruiting and talent, like the Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia Beach area.
That seems to be the entire reason that the American decided to sell their football future away, was to secure Texas and recruiting in Texas. So, like, you bring in UTSA, who's good, but historically a trash program. Historically, a very new program, but in their program history, like trash until the past year and a half. They brought in Rice, which, God.
Yeah.
Like, Rice got out of the football business when they were in the Southwest Conference.
Yeah, they're bad.
And then who was the other one they brought in? I can't remember. No, North Texas, who has had flashes of being decent, but is no longer good. I don't know, man. It's interesting. I thought the most interesting thing, we've been on this way too long, but I thought the most interesting thing about it was the timetable, those teams moving to the American in the 2023 season, so you can kind of work up the trickle-up effect. Like, if they're not coming into the American for 22 until the 23 season, then that means that Cincinnati, UCF, and what's the other one? Houston aren't going to the Big 12 until 23, which means Oklahoma and Texas aren't going to the SEC until 23. So you kind of are now informed on what the timetable could look like for Oklahoma and Texas to be in the SEC.
Yeah, it's messy, but I'm here. I think the Sun Belt is going to position itself over the next 3-4 years as being, the premier Group of 5 program for football.
Yep,
there's going to be some really good teams. So, all right, Rodstradamus to close us out. Roddy, you went 3-3 last week.
A tough one, man.
You hit with K-State, which, like, I got to be honest. Like, yeah, they won that game as a pick'em against Texas Tech.
Damn right they did.
I mean, they were 5.5 feet under in that game. They came back and won. So you hit with K-State.
But what'd they win by?
They won by 1, which is all you need. You got K-State, Ohio State -20, great pick. They blew out Indiana, one of the most disappointing teams in college football this year, Indiana. And then Wake Forest, -3.5. You love to see it.
I'm going to give a shout-out right now. We've talked about Phil a lot. You guys very publicly put me on blast in front of Phil last week. Like,
how did I put you on blast?
You said, look, Roddy likes NC State -3, knows the ACC, and Phil was like, like, cute story, thinks he knows the ACC. I know this. And Phil crushed me.
Yeah, he did.
Crushed me.
He went oppo on you.
He went oppo, and I got buried. So
now he did have some very nice things to say about you, the analyst. He's like, "Listen, I like Roddy's work on the ACC Network. I appreciate his contributions.
You have to say nice things about somebody,
but I'm gonna come over the top and just smack him down a little bit.
Like
you missed with NC State. You missed with Memphis. That was a bad pick. Memphis going to the bounce house, getting slapped around. You missed with UCLA -2.5. That was tough too because that line kind of swung. Like by kickoff, it was closer to like UCLA +1, +2. Yeah. So, anyway, you went 3-3 for the season, Roddy Jones. You are 24 wins, 24 losses, and 1 push. So,
yeah, we're doing pretty good.
We wiped the slate. We wiped the slate clean. Week 9 edition of Rodstradamus.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't looked at this at all, so we're doing this on the fly. But here's my excuse, Steven. I told you at the beginning before we got on. I'm on my wife's computer. Wife's computer had to update last night. Hadn't used it in a while. Couldn't get on the internets. Had to do some work this morning that prevented me from getting my picks in. I'm filibustering here so that I can somewhat get things straight. All right, you ready? I'm going to get started.
Yeah, I'm ready. Come on. I got my lines so you don't make up anything while we go.
Not making up anything. All right, here we go. First one, I'm going Kentucky -1 at Mississippi State.
Okay. I like that pick. I mean, you don't normally go to the SEC for winners, but I'm okay with Kentucky in Starkville. That is a night game, though. Cowbells will be clanging.
Yeah. Let's see. So, okay, I'm going Florida State +10.5 at Clemson.
Yeah. Okay.
Clemson is 0 against the spread this year.
Yeah, I know. That's hard to do.
And it has taken me this long to jump on the bandwagon, and this is probably the week that they cover. But, man, let's go.
Okay.
Hop in.
I love it. That's a 3:30 game, by the way. That's a mid-afternoon special.
Is a 3:30 game.
Yeah, Florida State Clemson.
I'm going to go Pitt -11.5 against Miami. Picking against Miami 2 weeks in a row. Pitt, by the way, has only not covered once this year.
Man, this has got letdown written all over it, doesn't it, Roddy?
For both teams.
You want to lay double digits here?
But, like, hold on. Yes, Pitt's coming off a big win. So is Miami. Like, Miami just had that. Do you see what happened after they won that game?
Yeah.
Damn near doused Manny. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a momentum thing. I don't know. I'm going to go one more in the ACC. Loading up on some ACC. I'm going to go Boston College +5 at Syracuse.
Is this an anti-Syracuse play?
That's got a letdown written all over it.
All
right, you ready? I got a couple more.
Yeah, come on.
All right, SMU. It's a pick 'em at Houston.
This is a great game. I'm not trolling. That's actually me being excited
it's a very
about
exciting game.
SMU and Houston.
So here's the thing you need to know about this game. I am so the two quarterbacks, the quarterbacks on both sides, very exciting. On SMU side, Tanner Mordecai is playing at a great level, like player of the year in that conference type level. Desmond Ritter's going to get it, but like, of course he's going to get it. But Clayton Tune's been playing well on the other side too.
No respect, man. No respect.
Of course he's going to get it. Like look what Tanner Mordecai's doing.
Yeah, he's putting up a nice season.
It's been great. What do you mean nice season? He's throwing it to 5 different receivers. They've all got a bunch of yards. Danny Gray, by the way. Danny Gray, name that people don't talk about enough nationally. Very good receiver. Houston's got a great defense. So this is like a strength-on-strength deal. I think SMU wins the game. If there were points attached to it, like if it was SMU -3, I don't know if I could take that. If it was SMU -6, I'm definitely not taking that. But with a pick 'em, yeah, I'll take SMU. Give me that.
I feel like the over-under in that game's a little low, by the way.
I don't think Houston plays defense. That's the deal. You know what the over-under in the Wake Army game was last week?
Yeah.
It's like 56.5.
Yeah.
Wake had that at halftime.
Well, everyone was like, I fell for this too. I mean, Army, they want to be able to put together drives. They want to limit the game. Yeah. Well, Wake was like, yeah, man, go score. Just give us the ball back. We're gonna do our thing and score again. And that's that. I could have watched Wake Army game. I could have watched, like, those two teams could have played 20 quarters of football. I would have been fine with it. It was that good.
There would have been 8,000 points scored.
So what?
All right. How many is that, by the way?
That is a 5-pack right now, sir.
Oh, even 6. Here you go. You got it coming. I'm going to go Texas plus 2.5 at Baylor.
Interesting.
Why is that interesting?
Both teams are coming off buys. I don't trust Texas. Like we're
of course you don't trust.
I know, but we're just back in. We're back in that boat where we're like, I can't. If I'm going to bet on you, I need to be able to trust you. I need to be able to have some semblance of.
It's college football. I think I trust Pittsburgh.
By the way, we're just giving out picks here, right? We're just two friends talking ball.
Yep.
Can I give you one?
Sure.
Florida.
Stop.
Plus 14 and a hook.
Look, I debated on that one.
You know what's coming, right? Both teams coming off of a bye. You're getting a heavy dose of Anthony Richardson and Dan Mullen scheming. Say what you want about Dan Mullen. Guy can scheme. Guy can put together, like, a plan.
How many points do you think? Here's the thing, though. How many points do you think Florida scores in the game?
Well, that's the intriguing part. And I know that it's early in the week, so it's the only time we get a chance to talk until we're drinking dog liquor on Friday night together. But my thing is, I think Florida can get you to 25 in this game. Maybe 28.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Then Roddy Jones, it's game on. Because
if Florida can get to 25, they will cover. Like, Georgia's not going to put up 40.
I'm not looking at this just in terms of a cover. I'm looking at this in terms of
you're looking at them winning. This is going to be your dog. Did you win your dog last week?
When's
the last time you won one of those?
Yeah, week 3. we're in what is commonly referred to as a slump. It's in a slump. We're in a slump.
Past a slump.
Now, in fairness, that's my dog pick that we give out on Friday is not about covering spreads. It's about winning outright.
Right. So it's tough.
So it's tough. But like I've been picking some just bad games. Like, and I picked Purdue last week. Like they're just these guys just aren't showing up for me. So, here's all I'm saying, Roddy Jones. There is a potential for Georgia to go down on Saturday. I'll just put it out there. And you can roast me. I can come on the show next week and say I was wrong. Georgia fans, y'all beat Florida 41-2. You are the truth. Like that may happen. But I see a scenario where Dan Mullen coming off of a embarrassing loss to LSU. Yeah. I think it could get weird.
Do you know how many points Georgia's given up this year?
Total? It's in the 30s, right?
It is not in the 30s.
Is it in the 20s?
No.
How many points have they given up?
46.
Okay.
In 7 games. And you're like, that's the thing with this line. Like, does Florida break 20? That's the question that I have, because I think Georgia gets to like 35. Can Florida break 20?
You think Georgia's
what
offense
about the Florida?
can get to
What
35?
about the Florida? No. What about the Florida defense makes you think that they won't get to 25?
I'm still betting against Georgia's offense. Still,
why?
even after everything I've seen.
But
they can't run the ball exceptionally well, Roddy. With that,
well,
they
don't do
group
anything
of
exceptionally
tailbacks,
well. They don't do anything exceptionally well. But you know what they do get? A lot of chances, because their defense gets off the field. And so you don't have to be overly efficient. You don't have to be overly good. You just need chances.
It's fair.
Like, if I can get points one on every, 3 drives, I'm going to get 12 of them during the game.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, man. I just look at it. Let's see. I'm trying to find Florida defensively. Where are they in the SEC? They're 7th in the SEC in total defense.
Middle of the pack.
And they've played Vanderbilt. They held Kentucky. They had a good plan against Kentucky. That game was good. They played you played South Florida, Vanderbilt, and you had a great game in conference against Kentucky. And they're middle of the pack in the SEC. Now, on the other side, they played Tennessee, who got after them. They played LSU, who obviously got after them running the football. Mm-hmm. Can Georgia run the ball especially well?
Yes.
No, but LSU. Yeah, I mean, look. Overall, Georgia's not like they're not what they've been in the past in terms of running the football, but neither was LSU.
I understand. I understand.
I don't know. I think Florida's going to see a steady dose of counter. Like, that's all LSU ran. It seemed like in the second half, they're going to see a steady dose of inside zone, and I don't know defensively if Georgia or if Florida can get to. Excuse me. I don't know offensively against Georgia's defense if Florida can get to 21, and if they can't get to 21, then I don't think they cover.
Rodstradamus is 500 on the season. He's given you a 6-pack. No Friday night games, right? These are all Saturday games. Last couple of weeks, you've been dabbling with like Thursday night, Friday night.
Yeah, I don't like Navy Tulsa. I don't know, to be quite honest, enough about UNLV and Nevada.
I know where you're at Thursday. What game will you be calling?
South Florida, East Carolina. Very exciting matchup.
I'm sorry.
Very exciting matchup.
Did USF beat Temple last week?
USF did not beat Temple.
Temple won that game?
I believe so.
Man, that just missed my card. I should have put that. I should have put that on my card, man.
Yeah, I believe Temple.
It's all about.
I just looked at this. I should know.
It's all about the games that, like, I don't know, man. I'm sitting there looking.
We don't shy away. I'm sorry. USF won that game, 34-14. What am I thinking?
They did beat Temple. Okay, all right.
Yeah, sorry, I misled you there.
Clearly, you still have some prep work to do for Thursday night, sir.
Yeah, well, I remember that USF had lost 3 straight. I couldn't remember if it was before the Temple game or including the Temple game.
ECU, better than their record indicates.
Yes, they are. Defensively, they're really good.
Just saying.
Like, they're a weird team. They're, like, best in the, top 2 in the conference in third down defense, like bottom in the country in third down offense.
Roddy, good stuff, man. Way to bring it. I'm sure Serber, he sent the voice message. He wished he could be here, but it didn't work out. So, Serber, feel better, buddy. We're thinking about you,
Feel better about you. And
also, I hope you tested negative, because I was I was in the immediate vicinity of you on Saturday, and I really don't want to get the Rona. So, feel better, Serbs. Roddy, enjoy your week, buddy. Good stuff, man.
All right. Appreciate it.
Chop on.
Hopefully, I'll see you on Friday.
Chop on. Gotta have it.
Baby.
Chop on.
On.
Good
Let's
stuff.
Go.
Check us out on Twitter, @CSNowTweets. We're back on Wednesday with Wayne Cook. See ya.